Once upon a time, in a village in western Nigeria, there lived a woman called Bose. Bose was a very lovely and kind woman. She had a daughter named Bimbo. Bose was a single mother as her husband had died the previous year, leaving her with just Bimbo. One morning, Bose went to the market to buy foodstuff and other household equipment, and on her way back, she came across a little girl sitting by the side crying. Because of her kind nature, she walked up to the girl and asked for her name and why she was crying. The girl's name was Tiwa, and she said that she was very hungry. "What about your parents?" Bose asked her, and she replied that they were both dead and didn't have anywhere to go. She took pity on the poor orphan and invited her to the house to eat. Bimbo, on sighting her mother with another child, asked who the girl was. Bose explained everything and told Bimbo that Tiwa would only be spending the night, as she was leaving the next day back to her home. Tiwa ate to her satisfaction, so that night, Bose called her aside and asked her where she stayed, but Tiwa had no idea. She explained that since her parents died, none of her relatives took her in, so she kept wandering about till Bose found her. Bose felt pity for her but didn't want to keep Tiwa in her house. She didn't have the courage to also send the little girl away since she had nowhere to go. So she decided to keep her for a little while till any member of her family came to claim her. Tiwa grew under the custody of Bose and was a very hardworking girl. She would take care of the home and go to the stream to fetch water. Tiwa and Bimbo became so close, and the villagers referred to them as sisters. They did everything together and loved themselves so much. One fateful day, while Tiwa was returning from the stream, a young lady stopped her and introduced herself as Ayomide. Tiwa told her her name, and Ayomide said that she was Tiwa's cousin. Immediately, Tiwa recognized her and hugged her. Tiwa told her where she now lived, and Ayomide promised to come pay her a visit the following week. Tiwa got home and happily told Auntie Bose and Bimbo about her encounter with her cousin and how the cousin promised to come pay a visit. As promised, Ayomide came the following week with her mother, Shola, to visit Tiwa. Bose, Bimbo, and Tiwa welcomed them with open arms, and after entertaining them, Tiwa's auntie, Shola, said that Tiwa can no longer stay with Bose and her daughter, knowing fully well that Tiwa now had a family staying few miles away. Bose countered her by telling her that no one bothered to look for her all these years, so why was it now that they were coming to take her away? Tiwa calmed the situation down and agreed to go with her auntie, that is, her mother's elder sister. She was just so happy because she thought that she was never going to see any member of her family again. Shola and her daughter went back home and said they were coming back the next day to take Tiwa. By the time they had left, Bose advised Tiwa not to be intimidated by her auntie and cousin, and if she didn't want to go with them, she was very much welcome to stay back. But Tiwa, who was overjoyed by their visits, told Bose that she wanted to go with her auntie and get to know her people more. She also promised to visit often. The next day, she was all set to go, as Ayomide and Shola were already waiting for her. But before she left, Bose called her into her room and handed her a mirror. She called it the magic mirror. Tiwa asked what it was for, and Bose told her she was giving it to her to protect her. If she needed anything, all she needed to do was to bring out the mirror and tell the mirror what she wanted, and it would be done. Tiwa was shocked, but she reluctantly hid the mirror in her bag. said her goodbyes to Bose and Bimbo, and went away with her auntie and her cousin. By the time they got to the house, Fumi, Shola's second daughter, was standing outside waiting to welcome them. Tiwa was shown her room, where she slept off immediately because she was tired. The next morning, after having breakfast, she did the dishes and put the entire house in order because it was very scattered. When she was done with the chores, she was so tired and was dozing off when all of a sudden she was poured a cold bucket of water. It was her auntie Shola. She was shocked and asked why. Shola screamed at her to go to the stream to fetch water. Tiwa couldn't believe it. "You could have just told me instead of pouring a bucket of water on me," Tiwa replied angrily. Then she took the calabash pot to the stream to fetch water. That was the day her suffering began. She worked relentlessly day and night, but it was like she did nothing. Her cousins never joined in doing any house chores. They were so wicked to her, and she would always wonder what she did wrong. Even when she wanted to pay a visit to Bose and Bimbo as she had promised them, she was never allowed to go. In fact, it got so bad that after she was done cooking, they would prevent her from eating the food. She began to grow very lean and started falling sick easily. One evening, she overheard her auntie and cousins talking about her. Shola was telling her daughters that they need to punish her even more and prevent her from going out as much as possible, because 2 suitors had already come to seek her hand in marriage, but they can't let her know about it. Shola also said that when Tiwa's parents died, she purposely abandoned her, thinking that she would die of hunger. But Bose took her in, and now she felt she was better than them. Tiwa was startled at the words that came out of their mouths. How can her own family be jealous of her? Now she knew why no one came for her after her parents' death. They wanted her to suffer. If she had known, she would have listened to Bose and stayed back with them instead of leaving them behind. She cried bitterly, and she suddenly remembered the magic mirror Bose gave to her. She didn't believe the mirror could do as Bose had said, but she decided to try her luck. She brought it out and, as instructed by Bose, mentioned that she wanted food as she was famished. In the twinkle of an eye, there was food everywhere. She almost fainted from shock. She began devouring the food. She ate so much but couldn't finish it because it was excess. This went on for months, and she regained her beauty and was no longer falling sick. Shola and her daughters noticed it and began to wonder what she was doing to look so healthy and beautiful. Fumi took it upon herself to find out what Tiwa was up to. So one day, while Tiwa was making another request from her magic mirror, Fumi was secretly watching and listening to her, and she saw that Tiwa's request was fulfilled immediately. She had never seen this before. She quickly ran to her mother and sister to tell them what she had seen. They couldn't believe it, so they planned to steal the mirror from Tiwa and use it for their own benefits. They immediately called Tiwa and sent her to the stream to fetch some water. While she was away, Fumi went into her room and searched for the mirror till she found it. She took it to her mother's room and placed it on the table, and the 3 women happily gathered around it. They were so excited to use the mirror to their advantage. Then Fumi, who remembered how Tiwa used it, spoke her exact words to the mirror, but the mirror displayed a very bright light, and they all fell to the ground. They were so scared to even touch or pick up the mirror. They realized that they couldn't use it, so they wanted to return it back to Tiwa's room so they could watch her use it again, and they would be sure of how to use it the next time. But by the time they came out, Tiwa had returned with a pot of water. "What are you doing with my mirror? Give it back to me," she said in anger. She reached out to grab the mirror from Ayomide, but Ayomide threw the mirror hard on the floor and it shattered. They were all laughing at her, and immediately Ayomide started acting strange. She ran mad and she started screaming and confessing all that her family had been doing to Tiwa and other villagers. The villagers gathered around her and were watching her. Her mother and sister were both captured, and Tiwa saw that as a great opportunity to escape from the evil family. She went back to Bose and Bimbo and told them all that had happened the previous months. Bose told her that she knew there was something fishy about her auntie. That was why she gave her the mirror to protect her. They welcomed her with open arms, and she never departed from them till she got married. The lesson to be learned from this story is that every action has consequences, either good or bad. Thus, Shola and her children got what was coming for them because of their evil acts. Also, jealousy makes one do unthinkable things. So avoid being jealous of others' fortune. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post notification to get notified when next I post a new video. Bye!